This is the Yonex Astrox 88D game, third generation. Yonex market this racket as the perfect rear court racket for doubles. It's a power racket and it's the third generation of this racket. It usually comes paired with the front court racket, the 88S, which also comes in a game edition, both meant for intermediate players. I bought this racket with my own money to give you an unbiased review. I've had it on court for 10 hours to feel how it plays and to compare it against the Arcsaber 11 Pro that I usually play with, since I'm looking for something slightly stiffer, but I'm also comparing it with the front court racket, the 88S game, and the previous generation of this racket, the second generation of the 88D game. I'm Aske from Badminton, and let's start comparing. Let's start by comparing the second generation of this Yonex Astrox 88D game with this brand new third generation. Now, the previous one was super popular and it took me like 9 months to get my hands on it, so it was quite difficult. And that's why I was quite surprised when I tested it, because it felt quite forgettable compared to the even more powerful intermediate version of Victor Axelsen's racket, the Astrox 100 game. It felt less powerful and slower. So I was a bit confused at the time. But now this third generation feels like they've dialed the power back a little bit, so it feels slightly less powerful, but it does feel much faster, especially around the net. It feels a touch easier and like you have a touch more control. And in defense, in doubles, you know, when things are flying really fast, like in drive exchanges, it feels like it's that bit faster between shots to move the racket around, which really comes in handy. Now, it has a smaller sweet spot, which does make things a bit more difficult around the net and in defense. But on the other hand, blocks are really fun if there's a powerful shot coming at you and you just put the racket on to send it nicely back over the net. It's a lot more fun than, say, with my usual Arcsaber 11 play, where you have to give it a bit more of a whip and direction. But despite not having as much power in this new game, third generation, I felt it was terrific still for stick smash, half smash, backhand clears or backhand shots to get you out of trouble when you're really struggling and you're really late and you'll do anything just to get the shuttle back over the net. I found this one to be just fine. The power is no issue. I usually don't play that many, full-on power smash because my technique isn't that strong and I'm afraid of hitting the net and losing the rally. But for stick smash and half smash, it's terrific. Next, let's compare this 88D game, third generation, the rear court racket, to the front court racket that is usually paired with, the third generation of the 88S game. You'll find that the S has a bigger sweet spot. It feels like a power racket without power in a way, and it feels a bit faster. So it's easier to intercept shots at the front court. It's easier just to get the racket on. But I did find myself struggling with the same things as I did with the Arcsaber 11, even if it was a little bit less, which was like full-on power shots or backhand shots where my technique isn't that good, or just straight out get out of trouble shots when you're really digging deep. On the other hand, the 88D game solved all of those issues for me, as you'd expect since they're a pair. But I guess the tricky part is that in doubles you'll often get rotated, so even if you have a powerful rear court racket, you're still gonna need some capabilities at the net, in defense, or at the front court. And you're still gonna need that speed, which is why I imagine that Yonex chose to make this faster and with less power. If you're unsure whether to get the 88S or the 88D third generation, I guess the simplest way to look at it is, do you want more power or do you want a slightly faster racket where it's easier just to put it on in the front court and block the shuttle? Finally, I want to compare it with my usual Arcsaber 11 Play, because I've been playing with that one for a while. I like it, but I'm looking for something slightly stiffer and ideally with a touch more power, because I don't have that much time to train my technique. And so I'm often in trouble on backhand shots or full on power shots when I'm unbalanced and not really ready for the shot. And again, it feels like this one has the exact opposite capabilities, which is fun, but it's not as slow as in the past. And where I switched from the 88D second generation, the previous one, to the Arcsaber because I felt it was too slow for doubles in my defense, I could see myself potentially moving back to this 88D third generation because of the extra speed. In terms of the verdict, I imagine this one will be even more popular than the previous one, since it seems like doubles games are getting faster, they're getting more defensive, and this racket suits that very well, even though it still has a touch more power than most of your sort of fast, slightly powerful rackets. As usual, if you want to see ratings, comparisons against more rackets, more shoe reviews, and all that good stuff, go check out the blog. I'm Aske from Badminton, and I'll see you on court.